Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars Black Series Star Wars Bad Batch Echo in his first Bad Batch armor, because there's two. Here is the box for Echo, one of the 5 members of the Bad Batch. Stuff to read on the back there. If you'd like a very nice picture of Echo. There he is, number 11. Very nice, very cool. Let's get him out. And so getting Echo out of the box, here he is, and look at him. He looks good. In my opinion, I love this armor. I love the Bad Batch armor, their first armor, not the orange and gray. I'm not big on that, but the gray and black and red, it looks so good to me, and I kind of want the full group, because they are all available, so I kind of do want them all. And I mean, as far as it goes, design-wise, Echo's been pretty intriguing. He's kind of the most clone troopery of the bunch, because most of them, they have their more specialized armor. Echo isn't technically a specialized clone. He is technically just a regular guy who just so happened to be augmented. For those who don't know the story of Echo, just to talk about it, he is he is a regular clone. We see him throughout most of the Clone Wars until I think it's season 3 or 4 when the Citadel arc happens. He gets blown up trying to escape on a ship. He's thought to be dead, and then in the final season of the Clone Wars, he shows up in the first Bad Batch arc where they appear, where the 501st combat plans have been kind of the Separatists know. Turns out they were using him as a computer because, yes, he was a high-ranking 501st member, so he would know all of the plans. So yeah, they rescue him. He determines he's not really a regular clone anymore and that he should join up with the Bad Batch because, well, they're special like he is. He's a lot different from a typical clone now. And I think that, yeah, looking at him, you can tell. First off, he has the Scomplink arm. I think that's what it's called, is a Scomplink. I'm not sure, aka the door opener. For the most part, though, again, most clone-looking one of the bunch. He does have the little Lobot thing up here on the head, which is interesting, and these little silver parts up there, like diodes or something. His head is very nice. It does look like Temuera Morrison if he was, very much, skinny and pale, I guess, which is the truth for him. I mean, that is exactly what probably would happen if you were stuck in a computer for, a year and a half. It's only 3 years for the Clone Wars. It's kind of wild, honestly. But as far as he goes, it looks good. The comma's nice. They do have all this nice red around there. It's a little iffy in spots. But I'm not expecting a whole bunch from a $30 figure, if I'm being honest. It's going to be a little splotchy. The chest looks great, though, I must say. I do like that little bit of wear and tear up there. The arms, looking good. We'll take a look at the left first, because it's generic clone arm. The right arm has the little droid Scomplink thing. I'm going to keep calling it a Scomplink, even if it's not. That is there. His legs are also very much generic clone armor legs, except for the knee pads, which are specialized. Other than that, that is essentially him. For the most part, accessory-wise, he does come with a fair couple, starting with a kind of backpack, with a bit of gold on it back there. It has a single peg. It just pegs into this hole, like so. Get a better look at the back of his head there. And that goes on like that. He, of course, comes with one weapon, that being a blaster pistol. I'm not going to say which one, because I'm not sure if it's DC 1517. Not sure. Could be another one outright. I'm not sure which one it is. I really suck at the clone guns, because they're DC somethings, usually. As far as it goes, he just holds it. But he has the classic Star Wars problem, which has always been a thing, even when I was a kid with my Clone Wars toys. The left hand never has a trigger finger, because yes, they would have just reused this from another clone, most likely. Usually the trigger finger is sculpted on the right. It's dirt bike season. But it is, a little saddening, because he can't really get the whole thing accurately. He can still hold it, though, which is great, and still do holstering poses, which I'm sure we'll see. And the pistol does come out pretty easy, and then it just slots in there, like so. Pretty good, really nice. Obviously, we're missing one big accessory, though, that being his helmet, which is a little iffy. So this is Echo's helmet, which is an intriguing design because it obviously has the chunk taken out for the bit on his head. In the show, this is a mechanical door. I don't know how that works, but it happens. It opens up like a mechanical door, like it slides open, and then it goes back together when he puts it on. For this, they just made it unclip, like so. And to get the head on, it is a little intriguing. So to get this on, so you have to just put it over like that, but it has to clip in. So you gotta make sure everything is straightened out first and foremost. So everything goes into everywhere. So for it, you have to make sure that this little lip here, which I would recommend putting a little bit of force on it. You have to make sure that that gets covered fully, along with a little bit of the front of the helmet. And then once that's done, you will be given enough room to get in there and put the helmet on correctly. It's a little iffy. The peg never likes to stay on. There we go. A little bit of it's a little thicker towards the bottom, so you have to like turn his head around a little bit, and then you get his helmet on, put the backpack back on. As I said, just recommend taking that off so it's easier, and you get his helmeted look, which yeah, he has a bit of a big head, but that's going to happen when you obviously have an actual head inside of the helmet. I don't think it looks bad. I actually really love Echo's helmet design as is. The little 99 up here, Squad 99. And then we have all the other things. It's a very narrow visor. It's not a Clone Trooper looking helmet except for this kind of front mouth area. That's about the most clone looking aspect of this helmet. It's just a very unique helmet, as most of the Bad Batch members have. I think the least unique would have to be Hunter. Honestly, he has the pretty close to generic helmet. It's not a full generic one, but it is pretty close to a regular Phase 2 helmet. And I do think this looks good. It does obviously inhibit his head articulation a little bit, but that's just par for the course. It does look quite good, and I guess we have one more accessory to speak about, which is this claw thing. This claw thing just goes over this one, just like that. It's just a claw, you know, there's a little port in there. Make it a gun if you want. You can make it a grenade launcher if you want. This looks like a grenade launcher. Am I crazy for saying that this looks like a grenade launcher and if that would be really, really cool? Like, this just reminds me of like a drum mag. It's just something that's pretty cool to me. Just remove that, and that is essentially Echo's accessories. So let's get into the articulation. And as far as it goes, we're just going to come in here and remove the helmet. I guess we can do the head articulation with the helmet. It's a little iffy, but if you come in and remove the helmet, like so, you then gain a lot more head motion up there, which is really good. Forward and back of the arm. Outward, you do have to pull up on these shoulder pads, unfortunately. Elbow joint is really good. Swivel, rotation. The other arm is the exact same. It's a little more limited at the elbow, but it's going to happen. It's a little weird. The ab crunch is kind of there, but it's mostly impeded by the armor, which is a little unfortunate. It does have the waist rotation, though. Forward, back is impeded by the skirt, along with outward. 2 in a row for reviews with impeded legs due to a skirt. The knee joint is good. He does have a swivel at the knee as well. And then at the foot, he does have the typical rocker and forward and back, which is a little harder to move than every other joint on the figure. And that is essentially Echo. That is it for him. And as far as my thoughts go, I think he is quite good. And it's good to finally own a Black Series character of a character that I like. This has been my issue with Black Series lately, lately in general. I don't really own characters I like. And if I'm being honest, I went out and bought a couple because I was like, you know what? I do like the figures. And I was like, I've kind of always missed having a Star Wars action figure. I love Star Wars. It's one of those things that in my like whole collection it has a small corner and it's mostly Lego sets. That's it. And I have a lot more than that, Star Wars-wise, around, but Echo being one of my favorite clones in general, most likely, just for his whole story, honestly, even throughout the Bad Batch, really fleshed him out a little more, even though he's probably the least fleshed out of the bunch, but again, he has his own story as a whole, and, I mean, he is really, really cool. Again, his design, like I said, the most clone-ish of the bunch, except for the helmet, I think he is quite cool. Now, I don't have any other Bad Batch to compare him to, but I might eventually. I feel like I kind of want to get the main 5, just because of how cool they are. I just do love the Bad Batch designs, especially this armor. I think that it's really cool. And I think Echo here is really, really good. And I would recommend him. I got him on Amazon for $30. That's it, $30. That's all I paid for him. It's a relief to say that instead of the big numbers Figuarts have. Oh, man. I'm glad I don't have many of them left to get, really. My Dragon Ball's almost done. But that is essentially it for this review. This has been my review of Star Wars Black Series Echo from the Bad Batch. This has been Elthot Elite signing out.